Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Flash episode 7 video. Careful for spoilers if you haven't seen it. There were so many reveals, probably the best episode of the season so far. So here we go. I was surprised by so many things in this episode. First, like the big kiss. They haven't done that since season 1, and that was every man that kissed her. So for those asking, yes, this is something from the comics, but here, let's do top 10 WTF because we had all the Savitar, the Dr. Alchemy stuff. So here we go, number 10, The Flash versus Savitar. Just completely takes him for a ride. He looks like a full-blown Transformer when they do like the full wide shot of him, but he takes Barry through what looks like Speed Force portals, like he's literally running inside the Speed Force, just popping up all over town simultaneously, or that's the way it looks to Cisco and the other people. So when he's running through this blue tunnel here, I think that's him running through the Speed Force. And at the end of the episode, number 9, he asks Alchemy to help him come back. So here's where the writer of the episode did a really good job of tying the storylines together. Wally West is stuck in this in-between state where his body can't really handle what's going on to him. I think that's what's also going on with Savitar, where he's kind of like half stuck inside the Speed Force. So he's super fast, he has white lightning, like that's how fast he is. So he has these crazy powers, but he can't fully manifest inside the world. That's why he needs Alchemy's help to get back. So that is a bit of a twist on comic book Savitar, who did get stuck inside the Speed Force, but it was a little more straight up. Like Wally West in the past defeats him by trapping him inside the Speed Force, but then later he escapes and Barry Allen ends up killing him accidentally. So the story the TV show is going with is just a little different. Trapped in the Speed Force, trying to get out a la Flash Rebirth Jeff Johns. Not the new Flash Rebirth, but the old Flash Rebirth. But number 8, Caitlyn's powers are totally effective against him. She can also leech energy, so that might come in handy later too. But she just helps them see him. She also slows him down just a little bit. So just remember that fight, because those skills will come in handy later. Because in the comics, the Flash was not able to defeat Savitar without the help of other speedsters. It's the same thing with Godspeed too. So you have to have Team Flash all working together in order to defeat him. And it sounds like that's what they're kind of teasing for Savitar. Like he's so hardcore, there's no way Barry stands a chance without the help of the rest of Team Flash. So number 7 though, as a consequence of helping him, Caitlyn starts to go full-blown Killer Frost. Only the version they're going with on the TV show is kind of in between, like everybody's in between, Wally's in between, Savitar's in between. Caitlyn is halfway in between Killer Frost and Caitlyn Snow. So the way the producers teased her is they said they were calling her Caitlyn Frost. So she has the powers of Killer Frost, but she still has the heart and the mind of Caitlyn Snow, which is why she gets super scientific when she's using her powers. Like she stabs Barry in the exact right place that'll disable him for 4 hours without killing him. But the interrogation scene, so this was so great. Number 6, Joe and Caitlyn both go super hardcore, like Joe grabs him. I just love this version of him, like last year when he clocked Harrison Wells, like ain't taking no shit, Joe. And then later, Caitlyn does the exact same thing. Maybe you should fear me now. So number 5, she steals Julian, and we see Greg Grunberg, who's actually doing like a guest spot because Kevin Smith is directing the episode. Greg Grunberg also has done a lot of sci-fi stuff like Star Trek, Alias, a whole bunch of sci-fi. But he also has a TV show with Kevin Smith called Geeking Out, so I wonder if Kevin Smith asked them specially to get Greg in the episode, get him like a cameo. But it was really fun seeing him. So Caitlyn takes Julian, and you have like the scientific version of Killer Frost asking him to make an algorithm so they can track down Alchemy using his followers. This is why you clear your browser history when you join a speed cult, because they're searching for people that have been searching the internet for Savitar. So let that be a lesson to you. But number 4, full-blown Killer Frost versus Vibe, just like Cisco saw in his vision. Surprise twist, Snowberry kiss for all you shippers out there. I was just blown away that they actually did that. But she does do it in the comics, so it's a comic book twist, but you can laugh about it because of what happened during season 1 with Everyman. They had that weird awkward kiss. This was way cooler because it got super comic booky. Barry just goes super blue, like that's how cold he was. So it was like a funny moment just, because of who they are, but they also did it in a really cool comic book way. But then one of my favorite Caitlyn scenes came right after this, when she is just super savage waking up in the pipeline. She just rips into all of them. I just laughed so hard on how much she opened up on them. Savage as hell, but she also creates that huge rift with Cisco now. They're playing it super ambiguous too. So yeah, I mean, Cisco and Barry will be friends again, but they just don't want it to automatically go back to normal right away. Same thing with number 3, Wally coming out of the cocoon. So like I said, one of the themes of the episode was people being this in-between state. Are you good? Are you evil? It's not a binary thing like Barry's speech at the end. So Wally comes out of the cocoon and his body can't handle the changes, so they have to go help him out. But it also provides this, really emotional scene with Caitlyn where she comes back from the brink because she can't kill Barry. So that's your answer to future Killer Frost on the show. We're going to see Caitlyn Frost. She'll probably lose her shit every once in a while, but she'll still be a core member of the team. She'll still be a series regular, so she's going to be in most of the episodes. In number 2, now that she's kind of back to normal, she's able to help them fix Wally. So he has that really awesome scene where he's running around. He's faster than Barry when Barry first had his accident. But even though it's all hopeful, you have that really sad moment with Julian where he makes Barry quit. They even have like the Easter egg where he's walking out and everything's really sad, and you hear that bolts of lightning just making you remember when he first got his powers. So never fear, I totally think that he will be back in that lab before the end of the season. But big twist, number 1, Julian is revealed as Dr. Alchemy in the maybe not surprising twist. I think a lot of people were expecting it because Julian Albert Desmond, Dr. Alchemy, the second version of the character, worked in the CSI lab with Barry. So there were a couple clues pointing to him possibly being Alchemy. But the real question now is how aware of alchemy is Julian? Is it like a split personality situation, or is it like Caitlyn where her brain just goes a little bit nuts when she's in Killer Frost mode, so she's not thinking clearly? We don't know how much Julian is complicit with Dr. Alchemy. Is this a cosplay situation, or is it straight up split personalities like it was in the comics? But we gotta talk about Savitar. There's so much going on here. So he has that crazy mouth, when he opens up. I still think that it's a person underneath there somewhere, but he says he's the future, you're the past. The Acolyte said that he showed them all the future. I saw you, it was glorious, you are Killer Frost. So is Savitar from the future? Did he come from the future to the past to try and take over? Or is he somebody from the present who has seen the future because he got Speed Force powers and is trying to bring about this future outcome? So there is actually a New 52 Future Flash storyline where Future Flash, Barry Allen, comes back to kill himself in the past to prevent a bunch of bad stuff from happening. This doesn't seem like that, but I might do a separate video for Future Flash to explain that because it is an interesting twist. But the Reverse Flash is also a time traveler who came back into the past to try and change the future. So whatever's happened, Savitar is trapped in this in-between state, but he has all this power and needs alchemy to help bring him back fully. So the real thing now is in figuring out what Julian is going to do about Dr. Alchemy and what Savitar's real plan is, what he's actually going to do to bring himself back. So it was a great character episode, great twist comic book episode, great WTF moment, big action set piece episode too. So I feel like the script was better, the action was better, the characters were better. So hands down, favorite episode this season so far. We'll see if the 4-way crossover or the mid-season finale can top it. It's going to be really hard to top, but let me know what was your favorite moment. Was this your favorite episode of the season so far? It was fun with all the Flashpoint stuff at the beginning, and you can kind of tell they wanted to slowly weave Savitar in. He was there from the beginning. He killed the rival at the end of episode 2, so he's always been around, but they really wanted to establish the new speedsters like Jesse Quick, Wally West, and explain those concepts so that people understood. Tease out Dr. Alchemy, so he seems like a really big deal. And even the big twist with the rival too, look at this big boss who doesn't matter at all because we killed him off in the second episode. That was a really fun twist where you have the super evil guy come kill the other person that you think is supposed to be the main villain just to show you how badass he is. But a lot of you might have noticed that Savitar's voice still sounds like Tobin Bell. So when we hear Alchemy speak and we think it's Tobin Bell, maybe somehow he's replicating Savitar's voice. But for those of you asking, yes, that is Tobin Bell who is speaking when we hear Savitar speaking. So the only other real big Easter eggs that I spotted in the episode was the Game of Thrones shout out, don't go all Mother Dragons on me with the hair when Cisco was talking to Caitlyn. The Wally thing with him being faster than Barry was at the beginning is also a comic book thing because comic book Wally West was the fastest version of the Flash, so we'll see how fast Wally gets eventually, but this is like just the beginning for his character. And when HR says Barry's superpower is hope, that's also a comic book thing. Barry even became a part of the Blue Lantern Corps, which harnessed the blue light of hope during the War of Light. So really cool nod to that, but also probably the smartest thing that's ever come out of that HR character's mouth. So despite not being a scientist, he actually does have some emotional intelligence in him somewhere. And I'm really curious to see if we ever see Caitlin put on some kind of comic book looking costume, because they made that, but they only used it in the Flash Forward, like the potential future where she's fighting Cisco as full-blown Killer Frost. Really important stuff though. Next week is the big 4-night crossover. It's going to be purely Dominators, but they might lightly touch on this Dr. Alchemy Sabotage stuff. So I'll say congratulations to this week's DC giveaway winner, David Grace. You win a $20 Amazon gift card. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. There is a new round that starts now. I'll just go ahead and start a round now. But if there's any like special bonus videos on Killer Frost or any other concepts like Future Flash, just let me know in the comments, because there's a lot of really cool comic book stuff happening here, but the TV show, as it tends to do, is mixing and matching things. But there is like a bunch of comic book stuff happening tomorrow. There's no new episode of Arrow, but Kevin Feige did this big Marvel versus DC explainer where, he was talking about the Marvel films they've been making, what DC's doing, why they're probably not going to be able to make a deal with Fox anytime soon for the X-Men characters. So I'll do a video for that next, but there's also been some talk of Carnage showing up in the Spider-Man Marvel movies, so I'll do a video for that too, and then obviously we got some new footage for the big 4-night crossover. So a whole bunch of Marvel and DC posting. I'll try to get that out as fast as possible. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for my Godspeed versus Savitar video, and you can click here for the trailer for the big 4-night crossover. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.